Howdy, folks. Don't know if this is Victor Evelyn Blaps. I'm the chairman of the CDMA, this Community Development for Martial Arts. We do a lot of initiatives to deal with anti-bullying. We don't go against anti-bullying. We have initiatives to deal with bullying. Okay, in Luton, and we have been doing that for about 30 years now. We're very successful at it. We're about to go forward with more prospects for the Luton youth in Luton. Huge project coming up soon. Due to what's happened in America with George Floyd, today a lot of people were tearing down statues and renaming roads and stuff around the world. They're doing these little, I don't know what you want to call it, little things to placate us, to placate the masses of outraged people around the world. And I find it hilarious. I have no interest whatsoever in going into a protest or shouting down a mic to tell people that we matter. I have no interest in it whatsoever. I will wait until the white people going around tearing down these statues because they're embarrassed, they're scared, whatever reason. I don't care. They want to back us up. I don't know what it is, but you know what? They're doing it. They're doing something because they have no clue how to solve this, and so they're doing it their way. And the young are helping, and the young are doing it their way. Their outrage is theirs. They're welcome to it. They deserve it, and they need to guide it correctly. They just need to know that this is not going to be the end. This is just the beginning. This is silly. Their outrage has already got statues that they lovingly put up to commemorate and idolize these people and whatever, I don't know, taken down in an instant, almost in an instant. Even people that, even countries around the world who've got nothing to do with this murder and the outrage because of it, have said, you strike, these things need to come down. They've been symbols for hundreds of years, some of these statues, and they're just a constant knee in the neck. White people around the world have been wondering what they can do. So this has filtered down to little old Luton in England, of where I am a community activist. I do a lot in the community, apparently. It's always towards making the youth stronger, more protected, and more productive members of society. So using the martial arts way, I mean, we don't just use martial arts, we educate, we give confidence classes, we give self-esteem classes. We help them out with their education, and we help them out with their spiritual needs as well. So it's not about spiritual as in martial spirit, warrior spirit. Just making that perfectly clear. We don't deal with the woo, we deal with the absolute real. Okay. And so we've been doing this for quite a long time. We've been going into schools, dealing with anti-bullying, making sure that the children, as young as possible, get the message that they are super powerful and they can be whatever they strive to be. It's up to them. They've got to know that this is not a practice thing, this life. It's real all the way. Yeah. It's time to grow up. Going out to 6-year-olds telling them to grow up. Okay. But yes, it's come to Luton, and what's happened here, they've decided to rename a street in Luton that's called Hibbert Street, named after a slave owner who had about 1,000 slaves. Made loads of money. He made like 2.5 billion in these days kind of money, as compensation for his slaves being taken away. after slavery was abolished. So he's now been commemorated with this street name for decades. And they're finally, because of the outrage, they've said, you know what, these people in Luton need placating as well, because we've done riots in Luton. We can go off. We're angry people. We haven't got much here. But again, I'm like, okay, that's great. I'm like, what, with popcorn, I'm like, all right, you're tearing down the statue. That's nice. It's a road this time. Oh, what? It's called Black Lives Matter Road, Boulevard, or whatever the hell they called it. I was like, what? Why? What's that going to do for me? I checked my bank balance. No further money has been deposited in there. I didn't get my reparations for taking down the statues getting taken down. I got nothing. There's no improvement to my life because these statues are now down. I've driven down that road 100 times, never bothered me. Now I've found out it was named after a slave owner. It still doesn't bother me, and I still drive down the road. They name it Harriet Tubman Road. I wouldn't give a frying, you know, I would not care. I absolutely would not care. I cared more when they named a housing area after my friend died. And Tony, he dedicated the rest of his life while in a hospice, dying of cancer, to raising money for that hospice and for the cancer with which he was downtrodden with. So he got a house, a block of flats named after him, Tony Jules. And I smiled at that one. I was like, that is cool. They got it in the papers, it was on the news, everything. And I was like, that's how you're supposed to name her. But now that was last year, I think that was. And now this year, George Floyd, statues coming down of people I don't give a damn about, and they're putting up these I don't know, these little things to say, oh well, we agree that Black Lives Matter. Oh well, thank you very much. Well, it took you a bit of time. Oh wait, there was like 6,000 people killed in police custody. What about their justification? What about thousands have been murdered so easily, like George Floyd, and so nonchalantly? What happened then? It's only because George Floyd was so blatant. It was so undeniably white supremacist action that was being placated by their own president. He did nothing to satisfy anyone. Matter of fact, he just reacted because he's so interested in his own re-election to try and placate his base, who are white supremacists and Christian evangelists and old white people and people that are generally conservative and upstanding people of, because there's nice people on both sides. And so, yeah, so he decided he's going to protect his shop owner people by saying, oh yeah, you get 30 years for taking down the statue, and you're going to get taken away this, that. All he did was just inflame the same base into saying, wait, whoa. I had people die of COVID-19, and they could have been saved if you were paying attention to that more than you're paying attention to things like this, okay? To try and find some way of meandering it back to your problem, okay? It's not all about Trump, this COVID-19. It's not all about Trump with this George Floyd thing, but he's made it that way. So anyway, they are now running away from him. Bravo to you guys. You've finally realized you're a loser. And it's only because you guys have been affected, and this is what's happening around the world. People are beginning to realize how this murder is going to affect them, black or white. Black or white, both of them. Both sides are going to be affected for a very long time. This has not even begun, and people are losing their minds already, tearing this down, riots, 4 funerals for one man. Amazing. Okay, so Luton, I'm getting distracted here. Luton, Hibbert Street. I was like, I don't give a damn what you do about that. What about all those times where I have tried to get a building so we can get the youth deprogrammed from the PTSD they've been suffering for decades? You know, all these kids that have grown up through having to deal with PTSD. That's not post-traumatic stress disorder. It's post-traumatic slavery disorder. This is what both parties, white and black, or white and not white, are feeling right now. Black people have depression. They have a feeling of not belonging, of being oppressed, of chip on their shoulder. All kinds of things have been leveled at them. You know, just not progressive, not trying to, you know, pull themselves up by the bootstraps. And white people are nonchalant, and they're not empathetic, and they feel they're superior. And it's been drummed into them, and it's been drummed into us. We're all been programmed by media, the teaching method, the educational system, the whole advertising industry, the film industry. Everything is a method of programming to let you know those people are against you. You're better than them. They are not better than them. These people are okay, but them no, they're not. And it's all over now because of George Floyd's murder. We're all beginning to see who the real problem is, and it's establishment. They've been running us amok since politics were involved. Politics were involved in any community. So this is, I decided in my outrage to write a letter. So I'm going to read it out. I wrote this letter to all the councillors I could, the main ones, the people that are involved in the money around the council, and the chief councillors that in the past wouldn't help me get a building. Every time I tried to get a building done, opened, asked the council for this building, that building, they said no, because you've got problems in your past and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what's that got to do with what I do? I know what I'm doing. I'll be able to help the children. That's what the parents want me to do. So let me have that library. No. Let me have that community centre. No. Can you help me get funding for this? No. And it's because of me. They don't like me, because every time I go on radio, I'm like, this council does nothing for Luton's youth. Nothing for Luton's youth, ever. They don't do anything. Everything that Luton youth used to have has now been taken away from them. Luton Youth House has been made into a carnival arts centre, which is more about European funding, and I don't know whatever. But barely used now, barely used. It's like a white elephant, barely used. Huge place, barely used. They built Futures House using the 48 million that was given to Marsh Farm to redevelop the area so the disenfranchised youth wouldn't grow up to be villains, basically. They used it and they beautified the place. Place looks awesome now. They paid 9 million of it to go into a building that was to replace all the council old community centres and blah, blah, blah. What did the council do? They moved in there. They moved in the NHS. They moved in the police station in there. And a load of rooms that need to be rented out to businesses. And a little piece in the corner there for the community to pay high prices for the hire of the halls to run their little community groups they used to run in the building before. And this has happened everywhere in Luton. They just took down libraries, blah, 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 everything, because of austerity. Austerity demanded. They needed to save money. So they did. And now austerity's apparently, is it over? Anyway, this is the letter I wrote today, this morning, about 10:30. It's been 2 hours. Okay. My name is Victor Evelyn. I am the founder of the Community Development for Martial Arts, CDMA, a group for anti-bullying initiatives. I'm also the founder of Afro-Caribbean Community in Luton, the ACCCL, and a group dealing with issues regarding the Black community in Luton. Also, I am the founder of Luton Action Against Slavery page on Facebook, a group started with Bob Baker and Kelvin Hopkins, both making sure the slavery issue in Libya was given as much light as possible. The group continued and carried on by myself on Facebook, as I felt that slavery has continued under many guises all around the world and needs to be given as much light until it is condemned and taken apart all over the world. To the issue of Hibbert Street being renamed because of the history of the person being involved healthily in slave trade, and the recent call for all things related to that era to be highlighted and changed because of George Floyd murder and subsequent high-profile Black Lives Matter protests and riots by young, frightened youth, which has received the backlash from their American President Trump, who inflamed everything for his own purposes. I'm going in big time. As I represent a solid voice in the community, I was asked to speak at rallies and protests and declined them all. I've done this in the past and nothing has come from it for us. I have instead made my feelings heard online, on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook to great effect. I've talked on podcasts going all over the world to huge audiences and how the young feel and why it is important to educate them on their true power at this time. To me, these offerings are trinkets and not even shiny ones. I could not care less about a statue of a street or street being renamed, a statue taken down, a street being renamed. That happens to be, that what happens today to us will continue to happen while we shine the street names and wow at the PC statue replacing the heinous one which stood in glory and remembrance of better times by the council that put them there, but not even remembered by the people that helped build the town we love. We still have it hard today because we have nothing. I tell the youth, these are trinkets. You own nothing. You have nothing. You are not being placated. You are being laughed at. In that hall, they are toasting each other's brilliance in producing a shiny thing for the children to wow at yet again. For 30 years, I've striven to provide a place the youth can call their own, as I've given no real help from Luton Council because certain members have decided my mouth is too big. I have used my own resources and succeeded many times in giving the town's youth some decent place to call their own, where they know it was not just for now, just for the time where this council needed to provide a minimum and did so as long as they could use it too. The youth buildings show this to be, that are available today, show this as true. We all lived through the austerity. Is it over yet? Government funding for certain areas now being used by the council, talking about Marsh Farm Futures again, more than anything else, and as a police station, as a tenant. The police must be loving that these days. In the past, I petitioned the use of buildings in Marsh Farm. I got signatures required. I was in the newspapers, on the radio, saying the council are stopping me from starting a youth club for the kids. I have parents in Marsh Farm wanting me to start them. I tried to get the use of the old library behind Lee Manor to be told it's being used by Lee Manor, who told me the council own it, who told me Futures House want to use it, who told me the council own it, they have plans for it, and so it's not for sale. Since this is all documented in emails and newspapers, I have no need to hear cries from you of this was required or that was not ready. We all know the history when it's against us. Due to COVID-19, my plans to open a 36,000 square foot building for Luton's youth to become strong and productive members of the community would have been tragically halted. If we had gained the funding applied for last year, because we would have had to close it this year. Due to leasing issues at the last minute, the £250,000 of funding was turned down. Soon, this too shall pass. It's a law of mine. So I'm wondering, when we get a chance to reapply for this funding, when the emergency funding that the people we were getting the funding from comes to an end, what will the Luton Council do at this pivotal time? Right now, will you try to placate our rage with trinkets, or actually help me to get something real and lasting for the kids for once? And I'll finish the letter by saying, Luton's outraged and unconvinced community awaits your response. I will be posting this letter online, which I already have many times in many places. Thank you for your time and stay safe. And that's from Sifu, which is my title, Sifu Victor S. Evelyn, CDMA, RM, Chairman of CDMA and founder of the LAAS and the ACCL. There you go. That's the end of the letter. I've sent it off. I'll wait their response. I've told quite a few people so far about it. If you see the letter, just share it out. Doesn't matter where it goes. I know this is happening in Luton, but remember, it started in America. Now it's happening in Luton. All right, so we can go the other way too. We've had stuff talked about in the chambers of Commons, the House of Commons, yeah, about Lee Manor High School and how they do things in Lee Manor High School to change the in their curriculum, to change the attitudes of young people. They're using they listen to the children, and the children tell them what they want to know about, and they're now teaching it due to a very good teacher in Lee Manor High School. Her name is, you know what, I'm not gonna, I think it's Gwen. I'll find out. But it's teaching there. But yes, I mean, I met her, the actual person that that decided to change the curriculum in Lee Manor High School, at a knife crime meeting held in Future's house. And I already asked Lee Manor years before to allow me to teach inside Lee Manor, so they become more confident in dealing with people that want to get them into gangs or move them towards something criminal minded. And it was met with a lot of red tape, let's put it that way. We did a lot of things in the coming years to which would have involved all the schools in the area, and all the schools had a letter from the council saying, don't be involved with me because of the stuff I've done in the past. And the only reason I got to find that out is because I had a friend. I have friends working in the council who got the letter and were like, what? Wow. And so it wasn't quite saying don't work with him. They were saying, the letter was saying, be careful. Is to do with safety or something. And then I had people from the council saying, will your event be safe for the people? I said, what do you mean? They go, have you got any first aiders? I go, I've got 4 first aiders. They're all graded 4 for first aid, and they are being controlled by a doctor who's one of our students. Is that enough? And they said, that's more than enough. I can't believe I was even asked to talk to you, brother. And I'm a security consultant. I do risk assessments all the time. So when they sent their risk assessment, I was like, call our risk assessment sheet to fill out. I sent them my one, which is like 4 pages. There was like 1 page long. I sent them one like 4 A4 pages long, and went deep on everything. And it was only an event that was going to last about 2 hours. It wasn't even a huge event. It was just. But then on the day, the schools did not turn up. These were the people we were relying on to turn up to make the numbers for this event, because it was for them. It was an anti-bullying event for the kids. And I went around to all the schools months in advance and told them it was going to be on this day and this is what they were like, yeah, we've just got to talk to a meeting, and that meeting's got, and we've got a red tape and make sure the parents and the governors and blah, blah. I was like, yeah, cool, we got plenty of time, don't worry about it. I'm just making sure that, you know, and they're like, yeah, we own it. And then on the day, but you know, you live and learn, it's all good. But we set the record, it was all good. It's a very low record. But we live and learn, we're going to do it again. And this time, now that we have different history leading up to the event, I'm sure that the parents will push the schools to get us all to the event the next time, to raise awareness of bullying around in all its forms. Right, I didn't want to take too long. I just wanted to make sure that I got this rant out of my system, because it's Luton Council yet again. It's these statues I had to talk about, because to me it's nonsense. It's just, I don't care. I care more about my eye color still being brown. When I looked in the mirror this morning, I cared more about that than statues coming down. Yeah, that's about it. So people, be safe. Everybody be cool. You be cool. You have been blapsed. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I'll see you when it's time to rejoice together again, properly. All right, have fun. We ain't gonna have this time again, so make sure you have plenty of fun and learn something. Read a book, write a book. Show your grandchildren you did something while there was time.